What's happening, guys? What's going on YouTube? Good morning, everybody. You guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels, and today we're going to be talking about this young lady right here who was fired from Taco Bell for being in porn, for having an OnlyFans account, and I think she also did a couple porn movies as well. And I thought this would be kind of an interesting follow-up to the video we did the other day. A couple days back, we did a video talking about how amidst the global pandemic, a lot of people are rushing into the adult industry, into sex work, into sites like OnlyFans. And I told you guys kind of how very few people are actually making money on these platforms, despite the appearance of it being easy money. Glendon Cameron, the Kung Fu hustler, originally kind of the storage auction guy, he recently set up an OnlyFans account. I think he made like $1,500 or something, and that put him into like the top 7% or top 10% or something like that of money makers and content creators on OnlyFans. So $1,500 puts you in a top percentile. That pretty much tells us that people aren't really making the money that maybe a lot of people think they are. And this kind of gets back to, we've also been talking about the issue of censorship and everybody canceling everybody and being so easily offended. And that's pretty much exactly why this woman was fired. I guess a customer came through the drive-through, said that, this customer must have been watching porn to know that this woman was in porn. Although now that I think about it, I think she said she's from a small town, so maybe just word gets around. But this person called up Taco Bell's corporate office, complained, said that it's against her values that somebody with a career in porn would be serving her Taco Bell food, and ultimately this woman wound up being fired. According to her side of the story, she told her manager about this previously. She was basically told, whatever you do in your own time is your own business. We don't really care. But they kind of changed their stance and ultimately wound up firing her. Another kind of interesting thing about this story. So this woman, and you must not make very much money in porn if, nothing wrong with working at Taco Bell, but if porn was really lucrative, you would think your time would be better spent making porn than it would be working at Taco Bell. I guess she was worried about COVID, so she decided to take some time off from porn and get a job at Taco Bell. And, a lot of people's decisions in terms of what they do because of COVID is pretty silly and doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense. I don't know if you guys saw this story. Recently, a gentleman was discovered in O'Hare Airport. He'd been living in O'Hare Airport going back to like November or December, like at least 3 months. And he's from California. The reason he was living in O'Hare Airport is because he was scared of coronavirus and didn't want to fly. And I realize that people who are freaked out by corona probably view airplanes as, steel petri dishes flying through the sky with other people's germs. I get it, but right behind airplanes, I would have to say airports are probably some of the dirtiest, unsafest places to be. You figure you have international travelers, you have travelers from all over the country. People who are flying inherently aren't scared of COVID, so you're surrounded by people who are going out in public, who aren't hiding in their houses, and you think that you're safer living in O'Hare Airport than you are getting on a plane for 4 hours to fly back to California. It just doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense to me, and I thought it was kind of odd that, I get with porn, you're swapping fluids, you're getting hot and steamy with somebody. I get how that could be a COVID risk, but when you think about it, if you're working the Taco Bell drive-thru, you're probably coming into contact with hundreds of people per day, as opposed to doing a porn scene, you're getting it on with one person, or maybe if it's an especially freaky movie, 2 or 3 people. But personally, I think porn would probably be safer than working at Taco Bell. Anyhow, let's get into this story. This one comes to us from the Daily Beast. It's titled, "She was fired from Taco Bell for being in porn." With her sex work on pause during the pandemic, Lana Wells was earning money for her family at Taco Bell, but she was fired when a customer complained, and now she's speaking out. Here's kind of another interesting thing about these stories. So as a landlord, you're not allowed to discriminate on somebody or not offer housing because of their source of income. So that means if somebody's a pimp, you can't turn them down for housing because they're a pimp. If someone gets Section 8, you can't turn them down for being on Section 8. You can't discriminate on somebody based on their source of income. Yet here, I realize this is a little bit different. It's a company discriminating on an employee in theory. But here she's essentially being discriminated upon for her choice of how she earns her income. And I have a feeling that this girl is going to wind up getting very rich off OnlyFans. This BuzzFeed article links to her OnlyFans account, so I'm guessing some people will probably feel sorry for her and wind up joining her OnlyFans. I happen to check out the page. One thing that kind of throws me off about OnlyFans, there's plenty of free porn on the internet. I would probably never pay for it, but at least on OnlyFans, you would think have some type of teaser photos, teaser images, let me see what I'm going to subscribe to. But after looking at a couple OnlyFans accounts, there's nothing. There's no free posts that you see. There's no previews. I don't really get what there is to lure somebody into signing up, which I guess that's why everybody's on Instagram, because you have to lure people in somehow and then get them to come sign up for the OnlyFans account. And because nobody seems to put content out, or because seemingly there's no free content on OnlyFans, I guess you gotta attract your customers off of OnlyFans. Lana Wells was in the bathroom doing her hair and makeup when she received a call that she won't soon forget. "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that your job here is done, and I'm very sorry I have to let you go," the voice on the other end of the line said. When she asked what she'd done wrong, the person claimed that a customer had lodged a formal complaint that there was a woman working the drive-thru who was doing internet porn, and as a God-fearing Christian, they didn't feel comfortable giving the establishment their business. It was 7:30 a.m., just 30 minutes before she was supposed to clock in, and Wells was in a state of shock. She had just been fired from her local Taco Bell after less than a week on the job in the middle of a deadly pandemic for being a sex worker. "They couldn't have given me a heads up or waited until I got there to say something," Wells said. "I just started bawling. I don't know if it was because I was upset or because I was ticked or a little bit of both." She still has to return her Taco Bell uniform. Wells, 33, says she was terminated less than 2 weeks ago from the only Taco Bell in Newport, Arkansas, a small town of less than 8,000 people. "I went in, I didn't even have to go in, and I would work a 9-hour shift with no lunch breaks because in Arkansas, if you can eat on the job, they don't have to give you lunch breaks," says Wells. "I was working hard." The Daily Beast reviewed pay stubs confirming her employment and corroborated her story with her husband, who is very supportive of her sex work, as well as another employee who wished to remain anonymous due to fear of retaliation. The firing took Wells by surprise, she said, because she even disclosed her sex work to her manager, April Garcia. During the interview process, she was told that it wouldn't pose a problem. "I was very open about it. I said, hey, this is what I do as a job right now, and I've been doing it since 2017. Is this going to cause any problems?" And I was told by the manager, "No, it's not going to cause any problems. Whatever you do in your spare time is your business," recalls Wells. During the layoff call, Wells told Garcia she'd been honest and forthcoming about her sex work, and says Garcia apologized. When Wells requested to speak to a higher-up about the decision, she alleges Garcia refused, telling her that the decision was final. "When I called the Newport Taco Bell," Garcia answered, "I introduced myself as a journalist for the Daily Beast, and she initially appeared receptive, but as soon as I mentioned Wells' government name, she accused me of being a prank caller and hung up. So I rang again and again. Garcia picked up. She apologized for hanging up on me and branding me a prank caller before admitting that Wells' name does sound familiar to me. Garcia then asserted that she was barred from talking to reporters and directed me to Taco Bell's corporate office. After pressing her for comment on Wells' firing, Garcia explained, "This is definitely a prank phone call. I'm sorry if you don't have anything better to do with your time, but I'm not going to entertain you today," and promptly hung up on me. Multiple calls and emails to Taco Bell's corporate office were not returned. Wells started stripping in 2010, only to step away 3 years after marrying her husband and having kids. In 2017, she began shooting amateur internet porn to earn extra money for the family. Raised in a Pentecostal home, she says she was particularly hurt by the customer invoking Christianity to shame her choice of work. "One of the first things I was taught was that you're not supposed to judge others. Only God is supposed to do that," she says. "When I heard that part, I froze." For the past 3 years, Wells' adult work has been featured on Pornhub. She's received 2 AVN award nominations, the so-called Oscars of porn. She also has an OnlyFans page, but Wells recently decided to stop shooting porn owing to COVID-19 health concerns and figured she could work at Taco Bell until the pandemic died down. "One of the first things I was taught is that you're not supposed to judge others. Only God is supposed to do that. When I heard that part, I froze. I basically took it as a replacement for the shoots, so that way we'd have money to pay our bills, buy groceries, and put food on the table," maintains Wells, who has young children. "I never expected to hear, because of your sex work, you cannot work here. It felt like discrimination." Unfortunately, there is very little recourse for Wells. According to the Arkansas Department of Labor and Licensing, Arkansas Arkansas recognizes the doctrine of employment at will. This means that as a general rule, either the employer or the employee may end the employment relationship at any time for any reason or no reason at all. The exceptions to this rule are firing an employee on the basis of age, sex, religion, national origin, disability, or genetic information. If a woman is pregnant or has had an abortion, furthermore, it is a crime to perform sexual acts in exchange for compensation in the state of Arkansas, thereby outlawing all consensual sex work. I spoke with Alana Evans, president of the Adult Performance Artists Guild, APAG, a union representing those in the adult industry, who says she's outraged by Wells' treatment. We are tired of watching our community of marginalized workers being shamed and shunned for their time spent working in adult. During a time where so many are becoming adult content creators just to put food on their table during COVID, it's shameful that Taco Bell would take this stance, states Evans. This is why the Adult Performance Artists Guild is taking our fight against occupational discrimination to Washington, D.C. We have had contact with numerous senators' offices, including AOC, to push to have our occupation added to the list of protected classes. This goal is at the top of the list for our union. We are seeking to have this implemented at a federal level. Wells isn't sure what she'll do for work now. She could reapply elsewhere, maybe to the local McDonald's, but is worried that the same thing will happen. I live in such a small place, so everybody knows everybody's business, she offers. She may be forced to return to porn despite her fears of contracting COVID-19, but for the time being would prefer a less risky job. But more than anything, she's angry. I'm tired of seeing this happen to workers. We're normal people. Whatever you do in your life or your spare time should be private, says Wells. If you don't speak up, who's to say this isn't going to keep happening? And that's kind of the message that I've been trying to push in a lot of these recent videos. Everybody wants to fucking cancel everybody. Everybody wants to be outraged by everybody. I don't think I posted the video yet, but the MyPillow CEO had his products pulled out of Kohl's and Bed Bath & Beyond, seemingly because of his associations with Trump. Now you have people on the right calling on people to boycott Kohl's and Bed Bath & Beyond. You know, here you have this woman who was fired from Taco Bell because somebody threw a hissy fit about her sex work. Now you're going to have the other side of people boycotting Taco Bell for firing her. You know, the whole world is turning into this, like, we hate you, I hate you, boycott this, boycott that. Everyone's going to be boycotting each other. Just live and let live, man. Like, everybody needs to quit whining about stuff. Everyone needs to stop getting in everybody's business. Everybody needs to stop canceling other people over their views and associations. It's really getting out of control. Anyhow, oh, you know what? I thought they... let's see. I was going to show you her OnlyFans. You know, I imagine people are going to be like, what's her OnlyFans name? You know, I was curious to find out. Let's see. Okay, OnlyFans page. Let's see if this actually loads. I got the screen recorder going, so this may not actually load. Lana Wells, Lana87XXX is her OnlyFans name if you wanted to check that out. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about this story. Is this right? Is this wrong? Is everybody cancel crazy? Anything else you guys have to add? Drop a comment down below. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, click that subscribe button down below and ring the bell as well. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll catch you on the next video. Rules for Rebels, signing out.